The woman at the center of an incendiary column written by conservative writer George Will, she's speaking out. Last month, Will wrote that being a rape and sexual assault victim is a, quote, coveted status on college campuses that comes with, quote, privileges. He pointed out this woman's story of sexual assault clearly to dismiss her claims. The column sparked outrage and a lot of debate, many saying that Will was trivializing sexual assault. Well, joining us now is Lisa Sendro. She's the woman Will referenced in his column, and she's speaking out to New Day in her first TV interview. Lisa, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
As we were just talking, this is not an easy topic to discuss, but an important one to discuss.
Right.
What was your reaction when you read George Will's column? You didn't know that was coming, I'm sure.
No, at first I actually tried to avoid it, but I had, many Facebook friends sent me the article. I was, of course, outraged. He made so many grotesque remarks about sexual assault, dismissing not only my claims, but essentially using that as a way to dismiss all sexual assault claims, diminishing what it looks like on college campuses as if it doesn't exist. And that, was extremely upsetting for me to read.
I mean, it went from you telling your story to Philadelphia Magazine in order to highlight problems on college campuses, to you being forced into a national debate, whether you wanted to be part of it or not. What did it feel like personally to read those words in a syndicated column?
It was awful, just because sexual assault is extremely triggering. I'm really glad that I have this opportunity to talk about it right now, just because this is such an important issue, that there's so many people on college campuses who are triggered every single day, so many people who are diagnosed with PTSD, so many people who don't come forward and are afraid to talk because of things like what Will is saying, that this doesn't exist, that this is a privilege for us to be sexually assaulted, and this isn't a privilege for anybody. So I was enraged.
Lisa, did you even know of him before this came out?
Not really. I don't really watch a lot of TV or read a lot of articles right now, but
one of the things he said is, as I was saying, the way he described in the column, he used your story, but he also described victims on college campuses as having a coveted status, and that status offers privileges, and he's just essentially suggesting that brings forth more victims, that victims will proliferate on college campuses.
Right.
Why is he wrong?
For many reasons. The main reason for me being that so many people are afraid to report. I have met many brave men and women and people of all genders who have come forward to me and are so afraid to go forward with reporting or investigations because they're afraid of how their schools will react, especially being on Swarthmore's campus. It's such a small school. No one wants to have any sort of retaliation. I didn't come forward for that reason. I didn't want to go into my dining hall or one dining hall and see his friends or anyone I knew talking about me or saying anything to me. And that's the same way it is for a lot of people, and for the same reason that they don't want to be exposed or called a liar or have their stories diminished.
In your story, he uses it as an example to dismiss your story. You say that he got it wrong.
Yes.
How did he get it wrong?
So I didn't give a lot of details for this story. It was for the Philadelphia Magazine, and the purpose of that article was to talk about the problems that Swarthmore College was having with reporting and investigating sexual assault.
You're saying he didn't understand, and Philadelphia Magazine didn't understand what really happened.
Right. I wasn't giving all the details of what happened, and I felt like even the original article, somewhat dismissed my claims in a way. It made me seem more readable for regular viewers or regular readers, but it wasn't that way. I gave little details because I didn't feel like I needed to validate myself. I just wanted to be focused on what the school was doing wrong and how we could fix it for other survivors so they could come forward and not be afraid at the school.
You didn't feel the need to have to relive it.
Right, exactly.
What this kind of gets to is a question of, is this about men and women thinking about the issue of sexual assault differently, reacting to the issue of sexual assault differently? What do you think? What needs to change? You've been, for better or worse, I'm sure worse. This doesn't feel like a privilege to you, for sure, no pun intended. You've been forced into this conversation. What needs to change?
I mean, rape culture needs to change. So there's this one idea that always comes to my mind, is that people need to avoid being sexually assaulted, when really the conversation needs to turn to how we can teach people not to sexually assault. If you're saying no, you mean no. If you're not saying yes, you don't mean yes. So I don't understand why that's so hard for people to conceive, or why it's so hard to understand that sexual assault doesn't need to be in a back alley and you're raped by some sort of stranger. Sexual assault can happen to anybody. It can happen at any point. It can happen by friends or family members, boyfriends, girlfriends. Anybody can sexually assault or be sexually assaulted. And the way that he framed it made it seem like it's only women who are crying and don't have any sort of reason to be crying. And that's not the way it is. There's so many women out there, many men who are out there who are triggered, and I don't understand why he doesn't see that. If someone came forward who he knew extremely well, saying that this happened to me, and I was afraid, and I don't want to go outside anymore, I don't want to go to class anymore, how would he react to that?
With all of that in mind, why did you want to go public with your story? Because the national spotlight can be a bright one and can be a mean one.
Yes, I've already encountered a lot of those comments. I'm tired of being afraid, honestly. People need to start coming forward and supporting sexual assault causes, or prevention causes. It's important for me, it's important for many people out there. There's so many college students who don't want to go to class anymore, who are, their grades are getting lower, they're losing friends, they're just depressed all the time. And with the expectations that you have for yourself and of your academics, it's really hard when you're sexually assaulted.
We should note you reported your sexual assault. There really has not been follow-up after the fact. What would you like to see happen to George Will? If not, like, you have the power, of course, but one newspaper has dropped his column, but it seems by and large this has blown over. It became a discussion, and that discussion has largely gone quiet. What would you like to see happen?
Well, I want to see this discussion continue, of course, but more specifically with George Will, he's entitled to his opinions, and I don't think that sexual assault should be a politicized argument or a discussion. It shouldn't be an argument at all. Sexual assault happens, and everyone should accept that, and everyone should be there to support the survivors and victims of sexual assault. I just want George Will to recognize that there are people out there who have feelings and who are hurt and who are triggered and traumatized every day, who can be touched and not realize that this is going to hurt them in the future, or that they can make any sort of movement and it reminds them of what had happened in the past. I just want him to recognize that at the very least. And he's entitled to his opinions, of course.
Would you like to meet him? Has he reached out to you?
He has not.
Would you like to have a conversation with him?
I mean, if he wants to have that conversation, I'd be willing to have it with him.